We're about to pull over $1,000 in treasure from these waters. This is the most intense yet successful way of metal detecting that I've found, and you're about to see exactly why. So, let's dive in.
Alrighty guys, today we are going to be looking at a snorkeling beach, pretty popular one here in Hawaii. The reason rings fall off in the first place is when you're in the water for a while, that cold water causes your fingers to shrink, and then your ring slides right off. So we're gonna go out a little bit deeper in the snorkeling spot, because chances are, people who are out deeper, then they're a little longer, greater chance of something like a ring slipping off, and lower chance of there being a lot more trash. So our gear for today, we got our XP Deus 2. So this is a fully submersible metal detector, and we've got our bone conducting headphones. So you may notice that when I'm down there, the headphones aren't even sitting on my ears. They're actually sitting on my cheekbones. And the reason for that is because these headphones are able to conduct the signal directly into your bones, and you can hear it without actually having to cover your ears. Now a lot of people wonder why I have a water bottle strapped to the back of my metal detector. I've been asked if it is my spare drinking water. It actually acts as a ballast. So in order to make this thing a little more buoyant than neutral, I can fill this up to the exact amount that I need, and then I can let go and it'll float right to the top. Then we have got our snorkel and mask. This is a dry snorkel, helps a little bit with all the waves out there. Handy dandy pinpointer, a little water bottle because getting dehydrated out there really stinks. Now the reason for this flexible water bottle is because I've used hard water bottles in the past, and the more that you drink, the more buoyant you become. So as the day went on and I drank more, I start floating to the top. Not ideal. Then we have got our Subnado. So this is the little jetpack looking thing that you see strapped to my arm. And I actually put it on backwards. It's meant to be worn the other way to pull you through the water. I put it on backwards in order to blow away sand and debris. Helps a lot with not having to fan with my hand. And then we've got our little forceps, because out in the lava rocks there is a lot of stuff that really just gets sucked into the little cracks, and it would be impossible to get out with my fingers. Dive knife just in case, and then Crocs with socks. Just because we're out there treasure hunting doesn't mean we can't look good while we're doing it.
Now we're far enough from shore that I'm finally ready to start testing out my theory, and it wasn't long before we were on to our first signal.
That's a goat. That's a goat.
And we're on the board with a satanic gauge, but fear not, because later in the hunt we actually find something to balance it out. And yet another key. If anyone knows what this goes to, let me know. It kind of looks like a hotel room number, but I'm not 100%. But this next one is sounding like a pretty good signal. Our first ring for the day was a massive chunk of tungsten. And this right here is what I'm talking about when I say that some targets just can't be recovered. This lava rock is full of pockets, and stuff will sink down feet into the rocks, where at that point there's no way we're getting out, not even with the forceps. And despite all the time and effort you put into it, trying to blow it out with a Subnado, trying to get a better view, see if there's another access point, at a certain point, you just gotta swim away. Now right off the bat I could tell that, oh dang it. Right off the bat I could tell this wasn't a very high quality ring, just based on the fact that it was so darn beat up. Anything made of gold, silver, platinum, tungsten, they're gonna look much better. Now fortunately we are about to end our streak of coins and trash with this signal right here. It's another tungsten ring. I'm excited to get this one back home and clean up because you can see it's pretty crusty, but these tungsten rings tend to hold up pretty darn well. And we've hit the mini jackpot with a chunker of a silver ring. And while that was disappointing, everything was made better when we got a visit from this cute little guy. This is the long-spined porcupine fish, and while they are very adorable, they are armed with very sharp beaks and are covered in massive spikes, so this guy's not getting any pets from us today. This was our first precious ring for the day, a beautiful platinum band. And you're about to see why this form of metal detecting is so darn profitable. The reality is, most people are not willing or able to deal with these kind of waves. They are extremely frustrating and make metal detecting quite difficult. I do tend to cut a lot of it out of my videos, but that is the reality behind it. It's what knocks people's rings off their hands, and it's also what stops the competition. And while getting pummeled by the waves is definitely exhausting, it makes it all worth it for moments like this. And another gold ring is on the board. And then we got a screaming signal, and I could see a little glint coming out from the rocks. Now at first I could only see the rim, so I thought this was much smaller than it was, and when it finally popped out, I lost my mind. Look at the size of that gold ring. Had I realized how much of it was actually buried underneath the sand, I definitely would not have used the forceps though, because I did scratch a little bit, but nonetheless an absolutely gorgeous piece of jewelry. Talk about good camouflage from this eel here. See him? And the ocean has plenty of beautiful natural treasures to offer as well. This is a little cowrie shell, so normally a sea snail would live in there, but now it's going to be home to probably a little hermit crab, so we'll put it back, give some hermit crab a sweet new crib. And you may have noticed one of these on the ocean floor before and wondered what the heck it was. Well, this is an operculum. It's actually the trap door for a sea snail. The signal we are getting here sounded absolutely heavenly. And just like the rock that it was hidden in, this target was holy. A silver Catholic pendant to balance out that Satanist energy that we got right off the bat. And speaking of the heavens, that typical orange glow was breaking through the water, and I knew it was time to start wrapping things up. So we grabbed our last signal for the day, and another dime. Now it's time to get those rings home and see if we can't get a bit of life back in them as the sun sets over Honolulu. We have made it back to base camp, and I've got all the stuff laid out that we found today, so let's go ahead and run through it real quick. Now, metal detecting the ocean has been quite a unique experience, because as you can see, there is a lot more treasure than there is trash. But there's two sides to every coin. All the coins that we find are in pretty rough shape, especially those pennies. You can see some of those pennies actually look like they're straight out of a Roman city. Modern ones that are made of zinc are completely corroded to the point where they're not even usable. If the government were to do away with pennies, it would be an early birthday present for me. This was about 6 hours of work, and so you're getting a lot fewer targets out of the ocean than you would out of dry sand. So it's a lot more work, but in the end, it does tend to pay off. And when it really sucks is when it doesn't, because you just walk away with a bunch of crusty old pennies and you feel like you got hit by a truck. But we did get a few nice rings today, so we're going to go ahead and take them through my typical cleaning process and see if we can't get them looking all nice and shiny again. First off, a vinegar soak for about 5 to 10 minutes. Now that's going to take off a lot of this crusty stuff. I mean, look at this ring. You're going to be pretty impressed with how it looks afterwards. However, something like this, a ferrous ring that is already pretty well shot, probably not going to survive the process. Nonetheless, we'll give it our best go. And we're going to go ahead and remove some of our better looking rings while the more tarnished ones are going to go ahead and continue to soak. And now for the most satisfying part of the process. We've got a gold clock here, and we're going to go ahead and polish up the precious rings. So for any rings that are made out of tungsten, like this big chunker, that vinegar bath was the end of the process. Gave it a freshwater rinse and a buff with a towel, and that's what it's going to look like. It is good to go. Jeez, that's a big ring. Or I got tiny fingers. For our silver, gold, and platinum, however, these guys can definitely withstand a good polish. So we are going to get them on the cloth and see what they look like afterwards. Now that I look like I'm fresh out of the coal mines, we have some beautifully shiny rings. Hard to believe that those are even the same rings that we had pulled out of the ocean. Day and night difference. Now this ring, however, is going to be an interesting one. Based on the stamps inside, I believe it's what's called vermeil or vermeil,
to where you've got a layer of gold on top of silver. Nonetheless, it says you're supposed to be able to polish this, even though I can see bits of silver poking through here and there. We're going to go ahead, give the inside once over, see if it makes a difference, and if it starts to damage the layer of gold, we'll just go ahead and stop and leave it how it is. I think that says hoe. We'll try and be light with this one. Well, our hoe ring no longer looks like it was made of copper, like it did when we had first pulled it out. Definitely some silver poking through from its time spent in the ocean, but pretty happy with how it looks. Pretty ring. Now our rings are looking pretty nasty. This one though I think will come out alright. But you can see this stuff just starts to flake away now. I can actually scrape it off with my fingernails. I'm going to go ahead and give these a brush and see what they look like underneath. So, cool transition, woo, and boom. A little anticlimactic. It didn't clean up quite as well as I thought, but definitely looks like a ring now. And with the cleaning, I was able to read the mint mark. It is tungsten, and it actually has a strip of sterling silver running down the middle. Now, as for our other ring, unfortunately I cannot say the same. This is composed of copper, and it is looking a lot like the pennies we found. But nonetheless, we had a great haul. I mean, look at all these rings. Absolutely beautiful additions to the collection. You know, it's a pretty good day when you don't even have enough fingers for all your rings. Well, I guess I have a left hand, but... I hope you guys are enjoying this series as much as I am. I'm honestly having a blast. I love treasure hunting. It is one of my favorite things to do. And I have got a lot of really cool videos in store, a lot of great ideas, and so stick around. I think this is going to end up being a really cool little channel, and subscribe if you haven't already, because we've got lots more to come. But until next time, you guys, ta-ta!